when I finally got time to be introduced into the circle with my regalia. And it's a very simple step. It's basically just the pulse of the universe right there in the center. And it's a beautiful discipline to be able to condense all your movements into this one. But as the years went by, there was so much about Native culture, philosophy, aesthetics, worldview. It's so rich, it's not just a religion, it's not just a dance, it's everything. It's our food, it's our outlook. And I wanted to, with all of my stage experience in theatrical settings, I wanted to see it expressed in a fully physical realm.
I think the first thing that happens when an audience is introduced to a style of dance or a style of theater that they know nothing about, they try to label it and they try to figure out. So, the first question is always going to be, well, what's Indigenous contemporary dance?
Not like a variety show with little ballet, little hip-hop, little powwow, but create a genre that, because we have trained in these different things, we can be physical. But in order to maybe express very ancient ideas, or ideas about our ancestors, or ideas about when we were able to be winged, or be able to be fire, not just make fire.
We first talked, she talked about global Indigenous, so she was tapping Indigenous cultures from all over the planet, basically. And I claim Fulani heritage out of West Africa and Cherokee heritage here from this land, and so there is definitely some interweaving, and I've done a lot of different styles of dance and seen connections between certain styles, certain rhythms.
I met Rulan when I was about 16. I was in high school when I first met her. She came to Moving People Dance Theater and said a piece, and it was actually the first piece that was it was to a piece of music that was in Spanish, and it was about the Virgin Mary, and it was something that really came close to our cultural beliefs. And when my family saw it, it just brought everybody to tears, and it's really nothing that they've ever seen before.
It was the first time I've ever seen a Native group which were actually doing Indigenous dance, art of dance. That was the first time I've ever seen anything like that.
It was interesting. It was wonderful. It wasn't anything I recalled seeing in the public eye before.
I wanted to make these dances, but the right ingredients weren't in place. I hadn't met the dancers yet. And I started inventing little things on myself, but it felt very lonely. Our dances are about communities. It's about a functional ritual for a community.
I believe that dance is no different than language, where it's alive and it's always evolving. So we try to find ways to present stories that people can relate to and people can understand. And people have ideas of what Native dance is, or Indigenous dance, and Dancing Earth tries to find movement and dance that come from maybe traditional social dances or ceremonial dances, but has this calling, has this quality that is contemporary, that is today.
So it's been really fun working with just exploring the different abilities of interpretive dance, as far as doing creatures and ancestors, and I really like the theme a lot. I think it's something in me that is being awoken by her.
The way she works is completely different. Every movement that she gives has a meaning. It's not just a dance step, or this is the move, this is what it all has meaning, whether it's, we've turned in from people to the earth, to clay, to being in animals, back to being human and two-legged again. So the process has been actually very different.
I've enjoyed the process. I appreciate Rulan's vision and her choreography and the energy and the emotional content she brings, which is real important to me, not only as a performer, but when I'm in the audience watching dance, I like to see a meaning and theme and emotional content behind things for it to really resonate with me, because you can see how you can see only so many people kicking their legs and turning and just be like, okay, what's behind it?
Oh, it's been interesting. I love the way Rulan works. Everything is so purposeful. I've never really done modern or even contemporary, and it's cool that she pulls from a lot of different stories and backgrounds, and these things actually really do mean something.
So it's not just about me imposing a vision onto a bunch of dancers, because that's really the Western dance worldview of like the hierarchy of the choreographer, and as a dancer you're the instrument. I wanted to create something that has more contribution from the different components, whether it's cultural, energetic, or dance steps.
This process is really a community-driven kind of process, and the movement will come up with basic ideas, right, and choreography, and oftentimes it's the mistakes, meaning when we veer off from the original ideas of the movement, or when we discover things together. And so a lot of the movement will come out of that, and there's a lot of trust that has to happen in that kind of process, because it's very scary to be in a process where you don't know exactly what you're going to do, and there's this idea that with our ancestral backgrounds, everything is in our bone marrow, it's in our blood, and even though we don't have footage of age-old ceremonial dances, and even though things have evolved over time, it's inside of us and it's rooted to the ground.
Putting yourself into the character of the pieces is difficult, and each piece has something different to offer. So you have to, change your character. It's a journey,
Ilan's really good about pulling things from our individual backgrounds and cultures and adding it in as a whole to the pieces, which is something I really like. In the opening sequence, when we come from the stars, there's a part where the Meherrin people are known as the people of the muddy water, and we're also of Iroquois lineage. So there's a part when I'm scooping the mud from the ground and I'm putting it on the turtle's back and building my nation, and then I pull everyone else in, and they're all creating the forms of their own nations and what represents them, and I think that's cool.
I'm doing this, to represent the dreams of nations, the dreams of all, these people would not be, they'd be either working in mainstream dance or possibly not working in dance. So I'm creating this channel in order to, bring their special gifts of who they are, not only as dancers but as individuals. So I am really, humbled by the hard work. 12 hours a day at least in order to make this thing happen. So I'm really feel really good about that.
The glue basically picks up all the spots and cracks that never got filled in and need adhesive. So even though I'm a small part of it and behind the scenes, I'm learning that it's a crucial element to running a show, especially when, what if the glue is all there's left, So you need that glue. So I'm happy to be the glue.
This opportunity has been such a gift. I've met half these dancers for the first time on this project, and each one brings something really special and unique. And so just being in a studio for 8 hours a day with each other, we learn different things from each other.
This is probably the most creative group I've ever worked with. Also, I would like to say that it is probably the most that I've matured with in dance and just self. I've also feel that it's very close to me too, because it had brought me to such beautiful people internally, as opposed to people that you work with and you just kind of see along the way. But I believe I just created a family here, and I would say that I'm very appreciative of that, and to be a part of Dancing Earth.
From the first project with Rulan, I got to see seeds of the way she works and the way she thinks. And the thing that's amazing about Rulan's choreography is every single movement and every single breath has intention in it. So to get to see her start to create this idea and see pieces that she's done throughout the last 10 or 12 years and how they've kind of come together and informed this larger project has been phenomenal to witness.
So our goal for this new work is to share it. We want to share it with the world, with our local communities, our regional communities, our country, our nation, and take it everywhere. And we really are. We're taking it everywhere we can. We're going to international festivals, but we're also going to schools and universities, elementary schools, gymnasiums. We do sometimes have to turn down invites because of lack of funding and plane fares. And that's disappointing, but we also try to go places where other groups don't always go.
Every day is a different day, and every day you wake up, you think, what am I going to be gifted with today? And that's where the Creator constantly reminds us that we're alive, you know, and we can create new movement, we can bring forth new stories. So when I think about Bodies of Elements, I think about the social impact that it'll have across the country in a worldwide sense. You can bring the ideas that come away before us, and you bring and you physicalize them and you vocalize them, and you bring this gift to whomever is going to show up at the theater, and people get to experience that, you know, and that's live theater, where they get to experience that and they come away from it, and it's going to bring forth conversation, it's going to bring forth discussion, it's going to bring forth an experience that maybe they're not getting today.
So it is a big production, but it's not just entertainment. It's really a glimpse into Indigenous perspectives on ecology, from the recycled and organic materials that we used in the costuming, or the themes and the shapes of the dances. As Indigenous people with umbilical cords connected to Mother Earth, to the tree of life, and then sometimes making mistakes, but knowing that we need to listen to the ancestors. It's about how we live and move, not on the earth, but with the earth.